Let's get right to our next guest, RC Peck, CEO, Fearless Wealth Corp. Thank you so much for being with us. As we look at the sectors on the move today, I know financials and energy are some areas that you like, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they're really forgotten, right? If you think about the last 10 years, who's been talking about their energy companies? And I'm not talking about renewable energy, but actually the old school industrial, the dirty part of energy, oil, natural gas. So energy is up almost 50% this year. I'm measured by XLE. And financials are doing really well too. XLF itself is up 32%. And these are forgotten parts of the market. They are deep value parts of the market. And this is what's moving this year.
Mm-hmm. And when we look at some names that you like, and I know we're going to get to financials in a minute, but as you mentioned energy, I wanted to take a look here at SM Energy, which right now is trading at 23.41, but is up year to date 282%. You like this name? Why?
Well, I like the part of the industry group it's in. It's exploration. I mean, talk about the forgotten,
right.
of the forgotten. I mean, no one's talking exploration. Right. So here's a small company, about $2.8 billion market cap, really left for dead. It's up about 20x from the COVID bottom. When it corrected, it didn't correct down. It corrected sideways. Whenever you see a stock correct sideways for a few months and not down, it just tells you it's owned by strong hands. The people that own it, they're sticking with it. And there's way more to come with SM Energy.
And then let's turn our attention right to the financials, particularly the regional banks. And you think investors can play the KRE ETF versus some of the individual names, right?
Well, in a way, it's safer, right? So it's an ETF. It's looking at regional banks in the U.S. It's up about 37% for the year. So it's better than the financial sector. You only want to be in an industry group if it's stronger than the sector it's part of, and regional banks is. And it's the same story with regional banks as it is with exploration or energy. No one's talking about it. And yet here's this industry group, this subsector that's up 37% for the year. The S&P is up about 14 with dividends. And again, no one's really talking about it. And this one also corrected sideways and not down when it went through a correction. So it's a really strong subsector.
Right, right. How about inflation? It's the talk of the month for sure, right? About inflation. And how do you think inflation affects regional banks differently, maybe, than some of the bigger banks?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, if the last year has taught us anything, that you can kind of throw your old rules out. What I watch the most is price. And the price of regional banks are doing better than the large ones, right? So I want to follow price. So inflation's going up, right? Whether it's hyperinflation or reinflation, but interest rates are going up and regional banks are managing it best. So based on what's happening, based on the price of regional banks and this ETF KRE, I'd have to say regional banks are handling inflation much better than those large money center banks are.
Right. And what about the money center banks? I mean, you're picking regionals over money center in general, right? I mean, are you going to stick with that play for a short term? Or is there going to be some change that will make you change your mind into the bigger names?
I mean, I follow price. So regional banks are smaller. And so if we think about what's going on, smaller is beating bigger, values beating growth. So with the smaller banks, or with the regional banks, we have both the smaller and we have the values. So we're getting kind of a twofer in there also, which the large banks don't have that. So they're outperforming. Now, I think it's going to continue through the second half of the year. So we'll see in 6 months kind of what those two have done.
And what's the final thought here as we have a week ahead with CPI? Obviously, we watch some inflation numbers there, jolts, and the Fed will be coming up in a couple of weeks. How are you feeling overall about this market that's butting up against highs?
Look, there's nothing stronger in a market than new lifetime highs, right? And so that's what we have with the S&P. It's at new lifetime highs. It's digesting a lot of information, but it's not falling, and new lifetime highs are not lows. So I see this market getting even stronger. It's unpredictable in the sense that people don't believe it should go higher, but I follow price, and price is moving up, and I'm going to follow price. And I think it's digesting this information saying, yep, thank you. That news is good news.